Hey everyone, I am here with Dianna Caldwell. Hi, Dianna.
Hi, Jen.
How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. So Dianna is a team owner at EXP, licensed in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana.
Ohio, Kentucky, and then I have a team member licensed in Indiana.
Nice. So we wanted to talk about teams. You're obviously very experienced. You've been in business since 2005, and talk to us about some of the challenges that if people are starting to wanting to build a team, like what are some of the challenges that you faced when building yours?
Yeah. So when we started our teams, there wasn't a whole lot of teams in the area. So
No.
really just getting people to understand what the benefits of joining a team was.
Right.
The support that you have, not only support staff and admin team, the admin team here that helps our agents, but the support of each other. When you're a single agent, you're never on vacation, right?
It's so lonely. I feel like they don't tell us in real estate school how lonely it is.
Totally lonely. So, when you join a team, you've got other people who are like-minded that you're collaborating with, that if you're out of town, they've got your back. You've got theirs when they're out of town, or
Right.
they have something come up. It's a different way. It's just a different way of working.
No, that's true. So how is your team designed? Does everybody do one role each, or can they sell both sides of the transaction?
So we have two admin on our team. One is our marketing listing specialist. The other one is our transaction coordinator.
Okay.
And then we have 5 agents and myself, so 6 agents.
Okay.
So the way we have it worked out is once you've got a year's experience, you can list if you want to.
Okay, I like it. So they have to have some.
Yeah, not everybody necessarily wants to. But you can list or work with buyers. And then the way we work it too is, as you're learning, if you're a new agent coming into the team, you work with a mentor on our team.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for listings. If you're just getting up and going with listings, then you shadow and you work with another agent on the team.
Nice. That's actually, we should do that for all real estate agents.
Absolutely.
Forever, all across. It should be, I always talk about an apprenticeship program, and it sounds like that's what you've created there.
Totally, and it totally works. I can tell you that. So
what has been some of the challenges either in hiring, keeping people? What are the biggest challenges you faced as you've grown your team?
So, the hiring and keeping people hasn't necessarily been too big of a challenge for me. Okay. Obviously, we want to hire more. But I think the biggest challenge we had was what we solved with the mentorship program. Okay. And that, it was really training.
Yeah.
Because, especially being at a different company before where there wasn't a lot of training, it was all on the team leader, which was fine. I mean, we take ownership of that.
Right.
But bringing new agents in and then just throwing them in, kind of.
That's how everybody feels.
Yeah.
You're at a company that has a lot of training, it still feels like that because the training, it still feels very surface or not about you. You know what I mean?
So just, about 3 years ago, I guess, we started the mentorship program where if you were a new agent, you come in and you work under another agent, and that agent helps you through your first, few transactions, mm-hmm. helps you learn how to write a contract, helps you learn how to present that contract, helps you, pull comps, everything that has to do with the business they work with you on. And it's been super successful.
Yeah, that sounds great. So are you guys currently growing your team now?
We are, yes. What are your agent joining us next month?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. What's your vision for your team, in the next few years?
Oh, that's a great question. Obviously, we want to grow, but we're very slow growing because we're picky. Our most important thing is that we hire to our values and we hire to our mission, and it has to be someone who really fits in well with our team. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we've done really well over the last few years is we've really hired to that, and we've had people that have joined us that are just like us,
So, I know, right? Yay.
Yeah, so that's the big thing. I mean, we've got an agent now who's doing more in Ohio, which is super helpful.
Mhm.
We've got an agent who's also licensed in Indiana, which is helpful, so we can serve all 3 states. But that was in and of a challenge itself too, because at one point before we were EXP, we dealt with 2 different brokerages, 3 different regions. We paid fees all over
Oh
the
my
place.
God, I can't even imagine the fees.
Yeah, so it was especially a challenge in Indiana, to the point that we just didn't even solicit business over there. But now we can because it's one big company, and you know,
That does
there's
make it a lot easier. I mean, I think like if if you are considering like growing your team or building your team, like the kind of like the old way was you could grow it and build it like within your designated borders, right? But like now, I mean, it's really only at EXP, but I know other brokerages are going to end up having to adopt some form of this. But it's like now there's no borders. Like you can grow a team in Mexico.
yeah, it's so team friendly. I mean, if you can run a team where you're in 3 different states or 10 different states if you
Right.
want to,
10 different
and
countries, Dianna.
different countries. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're not limited. So it's very helpful when you work more than one state. You know that because you do that. But
Yeah.
especially when you have a team, it's incredible how different it is.
Now, I've noticed that like a lot of people will like start a team without even kind of really thinking. They just think, well, I want to make more money, so I'm going to bring on some team members, right? Like you've heard this. So what are some of the things that like you can maybe caution those people and maybe you can get them to think a little bit further down the line than just that?
Yeah, if the money is the only reason you're starting a team, that's absolutely the wrong reason to do it because that is not going to
Not
be
what happens.
not what happens. You become responsible for everyone they sell, but you've also got to feed that machine, right? So the bigger your team gets, the more you've got to feed it. And you've also got to be willing to give it away. I mean, you can't bring team members in and throw them on Boomtown or throw them somewhere and just expect them to live off the leads that you're buying from them or for them. You've got to be able to nurture that team and be willing to give business to them and help them learn how to build relationships and work with your people. And you've got to hire people you trust to work with your people. Exactly. So I think that's the biggest mistake probably team members or team leaders who are starting teams. They think it's easy. I'll just hire a buyer's agent and I'll throw in my scraps or whatever. And it doesn't work that way.
That's a really good way to like churn and burn people because maybe that might work in the beginning because those people, if they're new, they may think, oh, this is a really great way for me to learn. But it really just ends up like jading them because I find that like a lot of team leaders, they don't really have the coaching and training piece.
Yeah. So I think if you, if you hire the right people, and maybe they don't all stay with you, maybe they stay for a period and they move on, and then you're their biggest fan, and that's fun too. But I think it's got to you've got to come from a place of giving and relationship versus I'm just going to give you the people I can't work with.
I know, right? That feels gross, right?
It does. Right. It does.
Yeah. So what is it? I imagine that attracting team members now is a little bit easier for you than when you were at the other brokerage.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Why is that?
I think they see our excitement. Our team's excited. The people we're hanging around is excited.
Yeah.
We've got, I just think it's more that than anything. It's your mindset. It's not only that, but there's so many resources that we've not even tapped into yet.
Right.
There's so much out there that it's overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
So that with training and EXP University and all of that kind of stuff, if you don't know something, if you're not an expert on something, that's your fault because you can find it and totally be an expert on it, and it's taught by people who know the business and are doing it every day.
Right.
Some of the classes that I've sat in on are amazing. I can't believe, the information that's out there.
Well, and it's easier to keep team members because before, I don't know, well, you didn't experience this as much, but I did when I was growing our team. It was like we could attract them and get them in with the training because that's what most places are lacking, right? But then once they got to a certain level, when they do the math, they're like, I'm better off by myself. And I mean, some of them were not, right? But like some of them were. But here at EXP, even if some of them are, it's still okay. There's not that like rub because of the way our compensation model is, which is nice because then it doesn't feel weird.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's cool. I think building a team is like an interesting thing. I think that the way teams are built is definitely changing than how they were before. And they'll be more like groups, and it's not just for new people anymore. It's like people, yeah, that are like doing business, a lot of business coming together and building like mega kind of teams.
Yeah. I think you see more and more, especially around the country. And, I think our area is a little slower to adapt and adopt. Yeah. You see a lot of people that are established long-time agents that are joining teams now, because that's just kind of the way of the future. But for the team member to not have the responsibility of the team and all the expenses of it and, all that kind of stuff, but to be able to build their own team is pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it.
Cool. Yeah.
It's fun, definitely. Well, I appreciate you being on. If people do have a referral for you and your team in Kentucky, Indiana, or Ohio, or they have an interest in talking to you about joining your team, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Just call me, 859-322-1290.
Awesome. Thank you, Dianna.
Thank you.
Bye.